Papa Genius on urban politics, and this video is dealing with politics along with spirituality and science. And I do want to forewarn you, if you're sensitive about black people, this is not the video for you. But you're going to learn a whole lot. And I want to thank the super subscriber, Miss Melissa Harris. Thank you so much for your encouragement on last week. I really appreciate it. I always read your comments. And this video today is called, What Does Jesus Christ Say About Aliens? What does he really say about aliens? So whether you are Christian or not, that's neither here or there. We're going to learn a whole lot today. We're going to look at certain perspectives, theories, and concepts. So you know that Donald Trump, our current president, he did release the files. Although I'm not a Trump fan, I will say that he didn't want President Obama to outdo him. So I feel like that's what motivated him to release those files. This is so serious, like this is global. Even the Bank of England warned to have a plan for inevitable financial chaos if aliens exist. So now it's confirmed here in the United States that we already knew that though. The Vatican is who I'm waiting on next, because they already know what's going on, and they have materials that they have not presented yet. And I do believe that's in the upcoming disclosure. I did a video a few months ago right here that talks about the Vatican and how this is all connected. This is very demonic, and one part of it is very positive and spiritually good for humanity. And Tim Burchett, he's been vindicated. Years ago, I went to go see Perry Stone in Middle Georgia, and I'm no longer a Perry Stone fan. But he did release that, pastors were being prompted to prepare to answer these questions with their congregations. So the second volume report, which is coming up, which will have higher resolutions with the videos of these UAPs. And again, I keep telling people that this disclosure, to me, I feel like it's just a repeat of things that we've already seen before, that they've always tried to debunk, especially with NASA. People have me crying, laughing, looking at certain comments to certain videos. They're like, oh, these disclosures were so disappointing. And what happened? This was such a letdown. It's like, y'all want monsters coming at your TV. You're acting for these extreme alien disclosures and can barely watch a horror film. And so I asked AI, what would be the best image of an interdimensional being? And I asked for it to create its best version of what it thinks it should look like. And this is what it came up with. And I've heard of, the grays, the greens, of course. But this one has an intense dark pigmentation and is highly efficient adaptation to extreme ultraviolet radiation. So along with that, I've also heard about black skin interdimensional beings having been discussed before.
Are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
There is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off?
Not dark, black.
Black skin?
Really black, yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
It's safe. 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
I told you about, they are all going to fill the skies and come and assist us I mean, how shocking is it going to be for everyone when they're standing there, the door's open, they're about to drop these little food with parachutes, and they look up and they don't see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel. They see a bunch of people of different, brown skin, different skin, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm really fascinated by is Obama winning the election simply because there's only one type. Those are the only racial types that we have on Earth that you don't see in people that come from other planets, and that makes them very special.
And that was the voice of the late David Whitlock, the scientist, and he was very well known within his scientific community and very respected and regarded. There's a lot of controversy loomed around his supposed self-unaliving. But I think that all things will come to the forefront in the end. Speculations around these missing scientists. But I just wanted to allow his voice to play because he was one of the prolific scientists that was into UAP studies, UFOs, aliens, interdimensional beings. And he was a big proponent, stating that he knew, just like the former NASA scientist, that stated that these beings are dark or they are black. And it's still as far as to go is that David Whitlock believed that our current black people on planet, that we have some, because I'm Black American, we have some type of genetic DNA connection with these beings that the science community are fully aware of. So is God an alien? Is he also an interdimensional being? A lot of people have questions about that. They study and they try to look for answers. But I have to say that no, God is not an alien. And in the Bible, in Psalms 29:3, it describes him having a voice just like humans. It says that his hairs are like white wool, white as snow, and his eyes are like a flame of fire. And if you don't know what wool looks like, this is what wool looks like on a lamb, or a sheep, And his feet are like unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace. And now this is a statue of a house fire that someone found a brass piece in there. And they said that that's what burnt brass looks like. And AI created a visual of what God might look like and what he sounds like. His voice is like thunder or many waters.
They don't want black people to know that they have extraterrestrial ancestry.
Right, and you were being told that black people didn't serve.
Didn't serve in the space program.
Right, and there were people from all races. So
Right, very interesting. So then we found similar.
David Wilcock had been associated with his theory regarding extraterrestrial origins and the black human race. Okay, so some of the things I looked up about his work is that his narratives, it says that some of the discussions around this topic mentions tall black extraterrestrial beings, often described as 7 to 9 feet tall, sometimes referred to as a black Nubian race, which are believed by some researchers, including those in the circles of Wilcock that he participates in, that these beings have interacted with beings, our human beings here on Earth. Then there's a metaphysical symbiosis. Some followers have interpreted his work to mean that there is a metaphysical symbiotic connection between the DNA of black people and these interdimensional extraterrestrial entities. And to add further context to that, even in modern times, you can go to that region of the world and you can see landmarks and the people, the foods, the cultures that still continue on through certain tribes of people that descended from actual Kushites, Nubians, real Africans. A lot of the modern Africans are not original people of that land. They migrated into that land. And also looking at the biological sense of it, black people who have melanated skin that was to be able to protect them to withstand the rays of the sun. This really is the only group of people that can withstand very high rates of sun exposure and can tolerate it, and actually it generates into wellness, just like the ancestors. And so that's why when I look at certain organizations that post on social media about current modern Egyptians being the real land people of the land, I have to laugh at it, because you're not practicing the same cultures of the people of the Kushites and the Nubians. Even in the Bible, Zephaniah 2:12, it talks about the Kushites. The Sumerian Kings list talks about the Kushites. And how when the first flood and the second flood took over, they were established again as kings. Even in the Torah talks about Abraham's wife Zipporah, who was a Kushite woman. She was an African woman, a dark-skinned African woman, according to the Torah in the Old Testament Pentateuch of the Bible. And it details how her ancestry is connected to Egypt. And she was a daughter of a Midianite leader. This is who Abraham children descended from. Well, at least his first set of children. And these are some of the pictures of Kushites depicted by the Egyptians. The kingdom of Kush is in Nubia, which is modern day Sudan. Now let's talk about the God factor. Okay, we're going to start connecting this. It says in Daniel 10, in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel. And it says that in those days Daniel was mourning 3 full weeks, and he ate no bread. He went on a fast. And eventually he lifted up his eyes. He was in a day of prayer. He was in a midday of prayer, and he looked up, and it was a man clothed in linen, whose linens were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the man that there was with me saw not the vision.
Do you see that at the bottom? It said he was like polished brass, and his eyes were like lamps of fire, just like God, the Creator, in God's image.
Right, for unto thee am I now sent. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, this is Michael talking to Daniel, and behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth. And for how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway there then he came again and touched me, one like the appearance of a man. That means that Michael has a human being physicality. And it says that Michael told him he had to fight the prince of Persia. And Michael, in this description, had bronze skin, dark bronze skin, eyes of fire. And it says now in Genesis 1:26 and 28 in the King James Version, it said, God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over fish in the sea. So I read earlier that God was dark brownish, burnt brownish, and now Michael is also burnt brownish. If God said let's make people in our image, then this is what the image of God looks like. This is what the image of God's elect looks like, his angels. This is what they look like, because this is what Daniel saw. And the people who are the Neolithic people, like the Dinkas and the Sudanese, are very similar to the original black people that started humanity. I do believe that there is a different type of alien creature, a demonic creature that did procreate with black people. And a lot of those red-headed, elongated people that you see on the hieroglyphs on the walls in Egypt, that is that hybrid. Those are the
Science has progressed so much that we can see that it's Irish, the Ireland Isles, inhabited by blacks first.
Now we have different forms of divisions of angels, okay? And it says Ezekiel 10 and 12, it describes this cherubim. Now this is the same cherubim that has just came up on the Hubble telescope in our modern times about a few months ago. It says the angel face, eagle, and a calf refers to a biblical cherubim. So you also have cherubims with the eyes and the wheels within the wheels, but then you also have the cherubims that have a face of a man, a lion, and I think a bull. So these are also representation of angelic, holy cherubims, angels, in the presence of God in heaven. This theory is actually based on things that you can find in the Holy Bible. And remember, my channel is all about bridging together the Bible along with politics, current events, science, to come up with a better conclusion of all of this data that's just floating around, and to make actual concrete sense.
The unseen world.
So let's look further.
That many of us are not privy to understand. And in Ephesians, he writes about these unseen clashes between good and evil. It says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness. There is an entire underworld, and there is a celestial world, which is good, which is positive.
So there's another division of kings when it comes to these principalities, rulers of darkness. There's also God is the king. There's the king of the north, king of the south. And what these demonic, what they're calling aliens that are not angels, okay? They're not in the image of God. They're not like Michael the archangel, cherubims. What they are doing is they are rounding up their demonic kings in these different principalities and regions. Let's look further on how I came up with that conclusion. Frogs were one of the second plagues in the Bible during the time of the Israelites under the servitude of the Egyptians. They are connected to being unclean. This is a slowed down version of a video I'm going to play to you of a creature that was caught on camera in Las Vegas. This is the being that was caught on camera, on body camera, and also through cell phone camera, the night that this meteorite fell over Las Vegas, Nevada. And it was caught both on a police cam, body cam, and the vehicle's video cam. And the call started off with the E911 emergency call to send someone for help because this young teenage boy saw tall, strange beings in their backyard right after that star fell out of the sky. And an online enthusiast was able to use a different type of technology that was able to remove this cloak
that this being had over himself while he was hiding, like in the bushes or behind their wooden picket fence. Using higher definition and a 4K resolution, you're now able to see even the physical characteristics and see that it behaves very much like a frog. Why are frogs unclean? Because it comes from Revelation 16. And you can find it in verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast. Even back during the times when Jesus walked the earth, he had command over these demons. These demons would transfer from one being to even animals. He had to drive them into the herd of swine that was nearby. Let's take a look back at the angelic side. God came to Abraham in Genesis 18. He came with 2 other angels, and he appeared as a man. He ate. 2 angels ate, drunk. But they also had to pay a visit to a neighboring cities called Sodom and Gomorrah, where there was a lot of lasciviousness. And those 2 angels were instructed by God to go and warn them before sudden destruction was planning to fall upon Sodom and Gomorrah that same night. And the man who was honorable in that city, his name was Lot. And Lot is actually Abraham's nephew. But even when Abraham begged the men of the city to try to attack the 2 male angels that came, and to have my daughters instead, they still tried to attack the 2 angels. And so destruction came. The only 3 that were able to make it out was Lot and his 2 daughters. And his wife looked back, and she is said to have turned into a pillar of salt. And in that very region where that happened hundreds of thousands of years ago, that is now a salt deposit, iron and salt deposit. And you can see tall pillars of salt. And they say that is a reminder of Lot's wife and also her disobedience.
So the ultra terrestrials, I'll just tell you, the ultra terrestrials, I think, have you heard of the P-52s and the P-47s? Do you know what that is? They're us from the future. They're from here. They are you. They are me. They're from here, from the future. P-47 is present plus 47,000 years. P-52 is present plus 52,000 years. And basically there's a calamity, right? So there's like a apocalypse scenario in the near future. It wipes out most of like everything, man. And there's the ones that go underground and survive, right? And then there's the ones that somehow stay on the surface and miraculously don't die.
In the book of Jude, it talks about, for there are certain men crept in unawares who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men. And that's explaining these Nephilim, these demons, these ancient demons that have been around, looking for places to inhabit, looking for new realms to acquire energies and acquire time. Everything that Amy Eskridge described sounds like in the inevitable apocalyptic Armageddon. It sounds like the plagues. That's what it sounds. It sounds like the Bible. And again, I don't do anything or look at anything in any particular way, whether it's political or science, unless I can see that there's concrete facts within the Holy Bible.
Okay, UFOs, aliens, they are demons, they are angels, they are interdimensional in origin, they are not necessarily extraterrestrial.
So what does Jesus Christ say about aliens? Well, I'll say this. Let's look at the scripture where Satan comes to Jesus in his last hour
of fasting from 40 days and 40 nights, in an hour of temptation when he was at his weakest. And he approached Jesus, and he actually took him up, and he was able to use gravitational pull to transport him and Jesus at the same time all around the world, because he is the prince over this earth. He is the prince.
Also in the Bible, in
air.
the book of Job, it talks about how Satan had the ability to still enter into heaven to present himself along with the other angels before Jesus Christ's crucifixion and his resurrection. He had the ability to transcend into heavenly realms. He is able to organize, delegate, to enforce gravitational powers interdimensionally, because just like Amy Eskridge stated, these things are dealing with a short period of time. They know that there is going to be an intergalactic, not only in the heavenly realms, but also in our physical state here on earth. There is going to be an apocalypse, and it is called Armageddon. This is something that consists of a
Revelations 9 says that it's over a 200 million man war that comes from the east. And it's called the nations of Gog and Magog, and supposedly there's supposed to be also Russia and China. War that is to come, and it is a war that determines eternity. That is why their presence is making such an announcement now. The things that are about to take place are also going to answer for a lot of the wrongs that have been done in society over hundreds of years towards those people that look like God. Friends, there is also something called a great falling away. And this happens right before Christ makes his appearance. And I believe that this falling away is going to come through these disclosures. So the falling away is a predicted end times event in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, indicating a massive widespread rebellion or abandonment of Christian faith before Jesus Christ returns. You already see it with the Zionist movement.
How can you on one hand say that you're a Christian and that you believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, when on the other hand, in the Jewish faith, they don't even believe that Jesus is the Messiah? They do not believe that he was raised from the dead. They believe that he was a common criminal. That's an insult to your faith. So I don't understand this in this whole entire collaboration between
There
these
are
two
a lot of
faiths. Similarities between the evangelicals that are pushing this Christian Zionism and the Jewish faith in Israel. They both are against groups of people, Israel is against Palestine, and here in America, whites that are evangelical MAGA supporters are against black people and Hispanic and brown folks.
But I really believe that when a lot of Christians find out that God is black, that is what's really going to deter a lot of people from staying in the faith of Christianity. They are going to leave it, and they're going to cross over from just becoming Christian Zionists to becoming Zionists or full Jewish. Or they may just walk away from it completely. And I believe that they are going to worship and welcome worshiping these beings,
just
these
because
evil
it makes you feel
beings.
uncomfortable doesn't mean it has to change. You know, I mean, Jesus was a white man too, but you know, it's like.
Don't I believe that even with this whole entire MAGA movement, you're starting to see, this is an article that was published from MS Now, an opinion article saying the MAGA movement's KKK revisionism is revealing. Some Republicans, such as Representative Harriet Hagerman of Wyoming, keep trying to portray the Ku Klux Klan as a liberal creation, despite all the evidence to the contrary. And this article was just written May 13th, saying Ku Klux Klan denialism is in vogue for the MAGA movement these days. All of these movements that are trying to deter and tear down what America has helped to build towards the betterment of all people, for everyone to be equal. It's all being dismantled. And when I came across the recording in a video I saw of an Israeli leader of a conference they had about 2 or 3 years ago, stating that they have a fear that the problem that they are facing in Israel now, it wasn't Palestine, it wasn't Iran, it wasn't Lebanon, it wasn't America, it wasn't China or Russia, it was Black American youth. You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying? You have to see it to believe it, because I couldn't believe it. I said, wait a minute. Black Americans, we don't have anything. Black Americans, they stripped us of everything during slavery. Even the little bit that we did try to build up, every time we build it up, it would be bombed, it would be burned down, it would be lynched, it would be
the major
torn
problem
down.
of Israel is with the young generation of the black community.
This was an Israeli government official who was saying this. Not some low-level operative or some rogue member of their diplomatic corps. This was a senior member of their administrative government who was saying this on American soil. Their biggest problem wasn't Hamas or Hezbollah or the Palestinian Authority or Syria or even Iran. She said that Israel's biggest problem was young black people in the United States.
Well, come to find out, Project 2025, which was organized by the Heritage Foundation and MAGA, who elected this man, but when in reality they actually elected this man. I have some interesting information to bring in about these two, Donald Trump and his son-in-law Jared Kushner. So, as well as Kevin Roberts. Kevin Roberts is the president of Heritage Foundation. He is a key architect of the Project 2025. Do you know he holds a PhD in Black Studies? He went to school to study us, Black Americans, only to dismantle us. The people in this country that have the least. And so I found out also that the Abraham Accords integration, the Heritage Foundation, acquired the Abraham Accord Peace Institute in 2025. Heritage Foundation has boosted efforts to expand the Accord. And if you don't know, the Abraham Accords was the brainchild of Jared Kushner. The same Jared Kushner that owns the building 666. This guy right here, the little horn of the South, the Prince of the South, that's described in Daniel 7. Buckle up for this part of the video, folks. You're going to see why they are in such a haste to put Black Americans into the line of fire now.
And I just heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are, but you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel. And I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem, because...
And what is so crazy is that Black Americans overwhelmingly voted for Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024. Why? Because we knew that she was the better candidate in regards to how the issue with the Palestine-Israel conflict would be handled. And the ongoing bombing that was occurring would be handled better. We even had a Black woman who was called a monkey on a Mississippi college campus during a Free Palestine event, and they still voted for Trump. And even though Biden and Vice President Kamala was able to reach a peace resolution during the conflict, but when Trump got back into office, they went right back to doing what they wanted to do and started to insult the people of Palestine, and also to has renderings now and reveal that they did this 2 years before the attack happened that started this conflict from Hamas. They planned this 2 years ago. So yeah, I can see now why there's so many different things that's going on with young Black Americans, not just negative. There is something that our young people don't know that they have.
Normally we perceive aliens to be white, and that's never sat very comfortably with me, frankly, when I know that it's not the case. This particular group are a black group. They're very benign, very friendly. I have encountered them, though I can't say that I'm anything like an expert on them, but I have encountered them. They are not reptilian. The questioner uses the word reptilian. I can understand that, because when you look at them, you would see the scales, you would see the whole shape, but the correct term is amphibian. They are a hybridized form of human and amphibian. They are black-skinned. They model themselves a little bit on human culture.
As I started reading, everything I was reading was not lining up with what they teach you on Sunday. And I kept reading, it kept being different. And I was a kid, so I thought maybe I was reading something wrong, or I didn't have some understanding. It took me a while for me to realize it wasn't about me being right or wrong. The word is right. And what the word says is completely different from what they're going to teach you. I'm not going to teach you what's in that book. Got to read it. I was 5, started. By the time I was 8, I made it to Deuteronomy 28. At the end of Deuteronomy 28, I remember it clearly. I read it, I looked up, and I said, wow, really? Wow, this is awesome. I was like, I know the only people that fit what's in this book of who it says that the true house of Israel is, the lost tribes of Israel. They're lost. You know, they say they're scattered. We don't know who they are. I know who they are. It's clear. It's you guys.
What do you mean by you guys?
The folks that were sent through the transatlantic slave trade. The folks that are still in the lands of their captivity. Israel is in the lands of their captivity. There is no creation of the so-called Jewish state of Israel in 1948. That does not fit prophecy. There's people over there that call themselves Jews. They call their own selves Ashkenazi. If you go look at Genesis chapter 10, 1 through 5, it tells you Ashkenaz is descended from Japheth, Noah's son Japheth, not Shem. That means he's a Gentile. I'm a Gentile. You know, we're Gentiles. And I mean, like, I wasn't brainwashed. I got the Bible before they do the brainwashing of the programming and try to make you think Egypt is white, which is ridiculous because it's Africa. So, you know, all that's Africa. So, you know, I'm thinking clearly because I'm reading, I know what's going on, you know. And, like, I was a weird kid. I thought a lot. I thought about things. And, you know, my mom, she was really cool because she never taught me no kind of hate. She taught me to respect.
The bride cannot be ready. Remember, the bride is whole. The bride is full. And a major part of the house of Israel what the scripture call Zera Israel, the seed of Israel, is right there, hidden in Africa. In a minute, you will understand what's happening in the United States of America. Tune in with me. Stay on this message right now. I need you to focus. Because the revelation that I'm giving you today is not Rabbi Shapiro. Heavens spoke to me. Heavens spoke to me. And he told me, change the plans for this Shabbat. Change everything for the Shabbat. Something supernatural is about to happen with Africa and with the African American community. Let me say it again. Something supernatural is about to happen with the African American community. I have given 1,400 messages. I never once addressed the African American community. But tonight, I am. Because you have a very special invitation. Africa has a very special invitation. And the time is now. This is why we are seeing this revival.
Africa has perhaps hundreds of millions of people with this identity right now of being from the people of Israel. Does that mean they were from the 10 tribes? Likely not. We were taught by the historians and within our own traditions that when the Romans conquered Judea, a few hundred years after that the tribes of Israel went into exile, perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery. Into Africa, into Rome, deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true. I like to bring up a few specific examples because they're going to be game changers. One of them wrote letters to Israel when it became a state. And they said, we're Israelites out in Africa. You know, everyone laughed at them and they said, African Israelites, these people are just trying to jump on the first world country bandwagon. They're living in a third world country, they got nothing. We're coming to Israel, we got innovation, technology. So they're trying to get on this train because there's such a thing called the right of return. All descendants of the Jewish people from around the world are able to move to Israel. So they said we are also. And everyone kind of laughed at them, like I said. And a few people took it serious and went out there and started studying them, learned about their culture. And a professor from Duke University went out there and did DNA testing on them. And he showed not only do they share Semitic genes from people who were in Yemen and back to the Middle East, these gentlemen, a large percent of them, have the Y chromosome to be Kohanim, to be priests. Now, if anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest.
You think that the people over in Israel, that those that war-torn land, that those are the true Hebrew Israelites? That in 1948, that's what's God gathering His people and making Israel a nation again? Because no, that ain't going to happen until the end of days when He gathers His people from the four corners of the earth. We're coming in and makes a multitude. Majority of them, they're all white. We got a problem here now. We got a problem. Because you change the people, you most certainly change the message. You change all the prophecy. You change all the prophecy. That's like when people try to interpret Daniel and all these things, they fall off at 1948. Because you put them as the people of the book, such as the Christians put those Jews as the people of the book, as the ancient Israelites. I mean, they're calling Abraham a Jew for crying out loud. Oh, but so hey, I'm going to cut this short. It's just interesting. I don't expect you all to hear me anyway. But you Israelites out there, you be very careful when you have a man in front of you that won't address who the true Hebrew Israelites are. They're up to something. And you know that those people over there in that land of Jerusalem right now, that's a synagogue of Satan being trodden down by the Gentiles. See, you got to know the book. And you change the people, you're changing all perspective and prophecy. And anybody that's supporting those people over there as the people of the book, you watch out because they're supporting the devil. And that's just the truth.
The Hebrew Israelites, the ones that everybody says, oh, no. Some of them get lost and say that they're only saved because of their skin. That's not true. Everyone is saved when everyone admits those people were the ones that were enslaved all throughout time. Then you cling to their lineage, not them, but to the father of them. Yahusha was a bronze-skinned man. The Jews of now are white people claiming to be black people. It is a lie. They even changed the definition of that in the dictionaries. But when you recognize that, and you recognize that they were enslaved, then you can truly have truth, so you can be accepted by the Father. His name is Yahuwah. The whole J or Jew term was conned by the Khazarians, the Germans, and the Ashkenazis. And it's a lie. You're not saved by skin, you're saved by faith. But you have to recognize what skin had it. Shem was a dark man. That's it. Stop feeling guilty and just read.
Y'all, stuff is getting ready to come undone. Okay? And y'all have no idea what is getting ready to happen. Please hear me and study for yourself. You can think whatever you want to think about me, but you need to study for yourself. The Most High He is done. Okay? He is done with what has been going on. The 400-year is up. The curse is up. Sorry, my kitty just sneezed. The 400-year curse is up. Okay? God's people, the Most High has chosen, the Hebrews, the blacks in America. Okay? We're about to see some power. Come on, y'all. You got to get out of this lie. Okay? You got to get out of this lie. You have got to come out of this lie. This white Jesus that you are worshiping is going to take you to hell.
It's who the Israelites really are.
You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israelite, that's who we are. That's who we are. So, if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews? That is the question I have for you.
Thank you. I'll answer that question.
Go ahead.
I will help you. After the demise of Solomon, we now have the northern and southern kingdom of Israel.
Yes.
So when we talk about Jews, Jews are Israelites, but all Israelites are not Jews. The 10 tribes that got lost are not Jews. They were Israelites.
Well, it's depending.
So minority cannot swallow the majority. We are here. We are the majority down here. So you are minority, and we are older than you.
Black churches don't teach this. It's because they don't want to get in the struggle either. They don't want to make it, quote unquote, racially motivated. People, this has nothing to do with racially oriented. I'm going to say that again. This has nothing to do with being racially oriented. This is biblical.
Amen.
I'm going to repeat that. This is biblical.
Amen.
These are biblical people. If they weren't, why are they in the Bible? If God didn't want you to see this, then why did he write it? He did it because it has to do with his story. I'm saying your forefathers, now walk with me, don't miss this. Because 98% of everybody out there believes that their roots starts in Africa. So they call themselves Black African Americans. And really what they should be talking themselves is they are what? The Hebrews and the Jews of the original temple of the city of David. And the kente cloth that you find in this, that most black culture uses as African cloth is the center cloth that was used in Solomon's temple and his mobile moving tabernacle. So where did you get that cloth from? Moses' mobile moving tabernacle. How did Moses get it? Because he was married to Zipporah and also an Ethiopian woman and etc. Now do you get the picture?
Cush was the father of Nimrod. And remember, earlier on, we learned that Cush is the land of where Zipporah is from. And that was Moses' wife. Cush is the land of the tall black people, the tall Africans. Kush is the land of the tall Sudanese Neolithic people. Kush is the land to where there are thousands of current pyramids still standing. The Kushites were also the 25th dynasty that ruled in Egypt. It says Kush, these are the black people, these are the Africans of the northeastern part of Africa. They were very dark. Kush was the father of Nimrod, he who became a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first centers of his kingdom, of Nimrod's kingdom, who was the son of Cush, were Babylon, Uruk, Akkad, and Calneh, and Shinar. So that means that everything that goes back to Babylon, that's Iran, that's Iraq, that's Persia, all of this stuff that goes back, even current times now, this all goes back. Why Israel is already planning to try to do something to Black Americans here and throughout the world, because they have studied the true Bible. They read the Torah and they also read our Bible. Okay? And they know what the end looks like, and they know how it all started. Whether they come out with a banner admitting or not, it shows in their politics. It shows in their policies and their economies and the wars that they choose and the missions and the platforms and the people that they target, right? That's how it shows. And it also reveals that we have a full bona fide war between Black angels versus there's such an expansive amount to cover that I have to say to be continued. Please do like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to see some of your comments. What were your thoughts on the first disclosure videos and materials that was released on last week from this administration? And are you also feeling that this is not even a tip of the iceberg, and that there is some more major stuff coming down the pipeline, and it's going to change the trajectory of how we are as a global society? Thank you so much for your support. I hope you do well this week. Have a great and blessed day. Thank you.